Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
A wild weather night from Louisiana all the way to Central Florida. On the left side of your screen, Tropical Storm Barry inching closer to landfall.
And on the right, we're feeling Barry's effects with some intense storms coming in from the Gulf. Check out these photos from our WESH 2 viewers capturing the moments those storms rolled through. At one point, a severe thunderstorm swept through parts of Seminole and Volusia counties.
And in Louisiana, people are bracing for what could be significant and devastating rainfall. With a curfew going into effect in New Orleans just about 2 hours ago. We'll have much more on what's happening there in just a moment.
But we begin with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tony Benalfi and the latest on the weather in Central Florida.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we had that flank of energy come in off the Gulf of Mexico, and it just blew right through Central Florida. Those pictures were amazing from our WESH 2 viewers. You can see heavy rain now along and east of I-95, A1A. I was just tweeting with Claire Metz. She was telling me about all the heavy rain in East Daytona, New Smyrna Beach. We had flood advisories earlier. We're getting into a rate here that it's more manageable, so the rain will be winding down over the next hour or so. Rain coming to an end in and around Bithlo, Waterford Lakes. Still moderate rain, Titusville, Mims. This is going to be winding down over the next hour or two. Kenansville up towards Kissimmee, back towards Palm Bay and Melbourne. You guys are in good shape. A lot of rain today. Oxford, almost 5 inches of rain. Wildwood, almost 4 inches of rain. Reddick, 1.57 inches of rain. All right, here's the 11 o'clock advisory now on Barry. Still expected to become a hurricane there as it makes landfall sometime during the early morning hours on Saturday. Got to tell you, though, the big change tonight, it is slowing down on approach over some very warm waters. We'll take a look at the rest of the impacts to Barry across Louisiana and our weekend forecast. All straight ahead.
See you in a bit, Tony. Thanks. The Gulf Coast is bracing tonight for the first hit of this year's hurricane season. You're looking live at New Orleans right now, which is in the crosshairs and could see some of the worst that Barry will deliver. WESH 2 Summer Knowles is here. In summer, the Mississippi River was already approaching flood levels.
Oh, yes, Jim. The river is now closed to any traffic. Barry could make landfall across Louisiana on Saturday as a potential hurricane. Water is already covering the streets in several low-lying areas. From recent rains, though, the Mississippi River is normally 6 to 8 feet this time of year, but because of recent rains, it's already at 16 feet and climbing. The levees that protect the city top out at 20 feet. So Louisiana's governor is already warning of a dangerous triple threat.
Look, there are 3 ways Louisiana floods: storm surge, high rivers, and rain. We're going to have all 3.
The best option is for our people to shelter in place so that we protect their lives, and that is our top priority.
All right, so the window to leave has pretty much closed at this point. Locals, as you can see, have already been stocking up on supplies, and there are numerous flights canceled in and out of New Orleans airport. We saw in the past 2 hours alone, Southwest Air canceled all Saturday flights out of the city. Meanwhile, the National Guard has been called in, rolling out temporary barricades. Guys, back to you.
Summer, thanks. If you haven't already, be sure to download the WESH 2 News app. You can use it to track Barry's path from the palm of your hand. Breaking right now, a 17-year-old is dead in Palm Coast. The teenager was found dead at Westfield Lane and Westford Lane. Detectives say the teen had a gunshot wound. Detectives are canvassing the area for clues. Deputies say 2 people left the scene and they are searching for them. Detectives say this scene will be active for several hours. You are asked to avoid this area.
Breaking right now, a woman was just rushed to the hospital after crashing her car into some water off of I-4. This is at the exit between State Road 535 and Central Florida Parkway. Orange County Fire Rescue crews were able to pull her out of the water. She was taken to ORMC, but there's no word yet on her condition at this hour. More than 100 people gathered at Lake Eola tonight to join a nationwide protest against the detention camps near the U.S. southern border, as well as President Donald Trump's immigration policies. This comes ahead of ICE raids on thousands of undocumented immigrants expected to begin this weekend. WESH 2's Kelsey Thord has more from downtown.
The protesters who gathered here at Lake Eola Park say that they want the detention camps in this country shut down and are asking voters to pressure the Trump administration to change its immigration policies.
Close the camp! Close the camp!
More than 100 people braved the rain at Lake Eola Park to show their opposition to President Trump's immigration policies, specifically the placement of migrants taken into custody at the border in detention camps.
We stand here tonight shining our light, for the record, in firm opposition to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, or the ICE.
This protest is one of hundreds of sister protests held across the country Friday night to raise awareness of what protesters say is a humanitarian crisis at the southern border. The protests also come just a few days before President Trump says immigration raids will take place in 10 major cities across the country.
It's not something I like doing, but people have come into our country illegally. We're focused on criminals.
It's heartbreaking. People are terrified, and it's a climate that it's not the American dream. It's not what people came here for. It's sad and it's scary.
The protesters here say in addition to showing their opposition in public, the most important thing people who want change can do is vote.
Because the only way we can get these people out of office is to go out and vote. And if you are not registered to vote, you can't vote. So we need all of you to come join us this summer to register to vote.
Now, Vice President Mike Pence was actually visiting one of these detention camps in Texas today, and he told reporters that all of the families that he spoke with inside that detention camp told him that they were being well cared for. He says that the Border Patrol is doing the best they can. In Orange County, Kelsey Thorid, WESH 2 News.
New at 11, Special Counsel Robert Mueller's testimony to Congress has been delayed until the end of the month. Mueller was set to testify July 17th about the findings of the Russia investigation. But lawmakers from both parties complained the short length of the hearings would not allow enough time for all members to ask questions. Under the new arrangement, Mueller will testify for an extended period of time with the House Judiciary and Intelligence Committees on July 24th. A fantasy that went too far. That's what a man accused of secretly recording women in a Port Orange bathroom says about the crime. Ryan Wilkins was arrested after police say he hid a camera in the women's bathroom stall at the Firestone Tire and Auto Store on Williamson Boulevard. A new report states Wilkins claims he was screwed up in the head due to infidelity problems with an ex. Wilkins told police he only recorded 2 women.
A man who was arrested in a cold case murder fails in his bid for freedom. Thomas Garner was arrested more than 34 years after the crime in which he's accused. 25-year-old Pamela Kahanis was found strangled west of Sanford in August of 1984. Recent advances in DNA and an expansion of the national DNA database led to his arrest all these years later. The defense claims that someone else killed Kahanis after she was likely with Garner.
Although the evidence that the state's presented today establishes that Mr. Garner and Ms. Kahanis at some point had a sexual encounter, there is no evidence as to when.
Prosecutors say the defense's claims were shot down repeatedly over the years. Garner will stay behind bars.
No one will be allowed to record the testimony of 2 children in a murder trial where their mother is accused of killing their father. Danielle Redlick is accused of the fatal stabbing of her husband, UCF faculty member Michael Redlick, in January. The children's guardian is Cheney Mason, acclaimed for winning a not guilty verdict in the Casey Anthony trial. Both the defense and prosecution supported banning the recordings.
I find no case anywhere that is close to trying to deal with what we have. The identity and descriptions and revelations of the faces of children who are testifying in a case where their mama killed their daddy.
The judge ruled that reporters can be in the room, but no video, photography, or audio of the children will be permitted. Jurors in the Scott Nelson murder case say one holdout is responsible for a life sentence instead of the death penalty. WESH 2's Chris Guardao explains how a change in state death penalty requirements spared Nelson's life.
Scott Nelson will spend the rest of his life in prison for stabbing Jennifer Fulford to death in 2017. But some of the jurors on his case say that penalty is not enough. After the verdict was read Thursday night, they tell us 11 out of 12 jurors wanted death for Nelson.
That juror was never going to vote for death from day one. I'm convinced.
The jurors WESH 2 News spoke with did not want to be identified, but they were upset, saying a single juror was able to hijack the group's decision. In 2016, Florida Supreme Court ruled that juries must unanimously agree on death penalty recommendations for people convicted of capital crimes. After that ruling, the court threw away death sentences for some on death row, including Brandon Bradley, who was convicted of killing a Brevard sheriff's deputy in 2012. 10 out of 12 jurors agreed on a death sentence for Bradley in that case, which was enough at the time.
That's what's driving me crazy. We went by the law and how the law was read to us. We were told we only needed 10 out of 12, and we got 10 out of 12. So it shouldn't be changed.
3 of the 12 jurors on Nelson's case say the one resisting juror did not provide any evidence as to why the convicted killer should be spared.
After all that work and time, one person. I don't know. I think it might be a flaw.
In Orange County, Chris Guardaro, WESH 2 News.
Sanford police are working to track down any leads on a cold case spanning more than 4 decades. On this day back in 1976, officers discovered the body of Christine Sincotti in a wooded area near Poplar Avenue. Investigators say the 24-year-old appeared to have been the victim of a sexual assault. Detectives are hopeful advancements in technology paired with new evidence could crack this case. Yet another rabies alert, this time in Seminole County. The Department of Health says that a feral cat tested positive for rabies. There is now an active alert for the highlighted areas surrounding Bunnell Road and Sunshine Lane. If you live in that zone or nearby, be cautious. Earlier this week, another rabid cat was found in Orange County, prompting an alert near I-4 and Epcot Center Drive.
A Jacksonville mother accused of allowing her daughter to lick a tongue depressor in a doctor's office is out of jail tonight. Cameras were rolling as Corey Ward walked out of jail. She had nothing to say, covering her face next to her father. Ward appeared in court today on charges of tampering with consumer products without regard for death or injury. Video surfaced Tuesday showing her daughter licking a depressor and then putting it back. A judge ordered Ward to not contact the doctor's office and stay off of social media. A traffic stop quickly turns into a life-saving mission.
Why some are calling one deputy a hero.
There ain't an excuse for it. There ain't a policy that I need to see to tell me that that's wrong.
A Florida deputy is off the job. The video that got him fired, and it's not the first time he's been in trouble.
And a crab invasion. Neighbors say hundreds of creepy crustaceans have taken over their homes. While experts say this is happening.
There we go. There you go. She's breathing. Come on. Let me have the baby. Let me have the baby.
Just an incredible story. A routine traffic stop in South Carolina turns into a life-saving effort. A deputy pulled over a car for speeding. Then the driver claimed that the 12-day-old baby inside her car stopped breathing after drinking a bottle. Well, the deputy started CPR and the baby started breathing again. The deputy received a life-saving medal for his actions. Oh, wow.
Some good work right there.
I know, right? Incredible. New tonight, a South Florida deputy is off the job after a controversial video.
The Broward County Sheriff fired one of his deputies who punched a handcuffed man. Security video showing Kevin Fanti punching the 19-year-old who was in line last month to be booked into the county jail. WESH 2 Stuart Moore shows us this isn't the first time this deputy has been in trouble.
There ain't an excuse for it. There ain't a policy that I need to see to tell me that that's wrong.
Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney announced the firing of Deputy Kevin Fanti, who punched an inmate at the county jail last month. The inmate, 19-year-old Kyle Paul, is in handcuffs. Fanti is seen shoving papers towards him, throwing punches.
One of my deputies decided that they were going to respond with slamming a piece of paper into his chest and inciting further violence and punched him several times, as you witnessed.
It's not the first time Fanti has been in the news. Before he was hired at the sheriff's office, he worked in Gun World of South Florida and Deerfield Beach. And in the aftermath of the Parkland tragedy, it was revealed he sold the shooter an AK-47 who was of legal age to buy a gun at the time. This is Paul's mother reacting to the video that got Fanti fired.
Oh.
She's not currently in contact with her son, but is disgusted with the way he was treated.
It is sad. It is really sad.
Stuart Moore, WESH 2 News.
The state attorney's office will determine whether Fanti should face criminal charges. It worked with the sheriff's office since April of 2018.
Police want to find the person captured on surveillance video attacking a South Florida hotel owner over a parking spot. Hollywood police released this video today from the Shoreview Hotel. The owner asked a man who parked in a reserved spot to move his car, and then things got out of hand.
Was smoking a joint after he finished his joint. So I told him, you can't smoke because I got a hotel full of people and kids here. The smell is everywhere. You can't do that. Before I know it, he came up behind me and he sucker punched me.
Police say a woman who was with the attacker intervened. The owner will be okay.
New tonight, a father who lost his daughter in the Parkland school shooting says he will now serve as an advocate for the school guardian program. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd swore in Ryan Petty Thursday night. He will serve in Winter Haven. After hundreds of hours of training over several weeks, Petty became an honorary guardian. 4 others were sworn in with him. His daughter Elena was killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Some new trouble for the I-4 Ultimate project tonight. Crews have already shut down the new westbound Ivanhoe ramp to downtown just after its official opening this week. The Department of Transportation says the exit was not set up correctly and people are having to make decisions more quickly. So safety changes will take place. The DOT hopes to have the ramp reopened by early next week.
Still have some widespread rain across much of Central Florida, and it's all because of Barry.
Well, I tell you what, the way it came in off of the Gulf, this outer band was just incredible, and the wind and the pictures that we got from our viewers tonight, just absolutely phenomenal. We do appreciate that. Keep them coming, guys, when you can, but just make sure when the weather's coming in that you're safe. That's our top priority. We love the pictures, but want you to be safe. All right, roads are wet. Temperature outside right now, 73 degrees. Wind is out of the north at about 5. There's that band that came in late this afternoon, just rolled right across Central Florida. It interacted with our sea breezes. We got outflow boundaries from the storms, and that created a mess, as many of you have found out on a Friday night. Flagler Beach, a couple light showers there for you. The heavy rain that was in and around Daytona Beach a short time ago is now pivoting off to the north and the east. A little bit of moderate rain there. Give this another 15-20 minutes, and you'll be in much better shape. Rain winding down here from Deltona to Oak Hill, Scottsmore, Truliota, Titusville, and southwestward over towards Bithlo. Still a few showers east of St. Cloud, but overall here, the weather is improving. Couple more rainfall totals here for you. Daytona Beach still raining, so we'll have to update this here over the next half hour, but 3.39 at last report. Beachside, Bethune Point, 2.98. Lake Charm, 2.55 inches of rain, and Oviedo, 2.31 inches of rain. You like cooler weather because of the rain tonight? We've got that. Many low and mid 70s out there for a change. You take a look at that 12-hour forecast. We'll have rain in the forecast tomorrow afternoon. Overall coverage, however, is going to be lower, and that means those afternoon highs will climb back up into the low and maybe even the mid-90s in 1 or 2 neighborhoods. Now, taking a look at futurecasts, you can see Barry making landfall on Saturday. For us, we got that south-southeasterly wind flow, so we'll have the chance for showers and storms. Don't get me wrong, but the overall coverage will not be as extensive as what we've been seeing this week. The big developing story with Barry, of course, is going to be the significant rainfall through Louisiana, Mississippi, on into Alabama, Tennessee. We're going to be watching that very carefully. 11 o'clock advisory takes that track now from just west of Morgan City, right through Crowley, and then on up into Monroe, Louisiana, farther to the north. Latest radar showing winds the same, still moving slow though, west-northwest here, a little bit of a wobble, only at 3 miles an hour later on tonight. It'll begin to make that turn more towards the northwest. Look at all the Hurricane Hunter planes in there. We've got the NOAA, which flies at a higher elevation, and the Air Force Reserve in there, in the red, just beginning to get in there. Pressure's right around 991, 992, and the track's very consistent right into south central Louisiana. And because of that, we have storm surge warnings in effect all across southern Louisiana, and storm surge flooding as this makes landfall will bring in about 3 to 6 feet of ocean water into the marshy areas there in South Louisiana. Very deadly combination of heavy rain and surge. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, check it out. Rain chances lower. Afternoon highs 93, 94. Normal rainfall chances back in play, though, by the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, and on into Friday.
Tony, thanks. New video tonight of a crab invasion. A Port St. Lucie homeowner says big crabs invaded his property Wednesday right after heavy rain earlier this week forced them out of their burrows. Video shows hundreds of crabs on his porch screen and all over this guy's property. And the crabs were gone the next day. Courtney?
Wow. Okay, Orlando City's late game heroics on Wednesday will go down as one of the most thrilling finishes in their club history. And later, Mackenzie Milton, who almost lost his leg, is back in the gym while regaining his form, maybe his toughest test yet. That's next in sports.
Now, West 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
Well, it will be close to impossible for Orlando City to top their thrilling win in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal match. Talk to almost any fan who was there, and they will tell you it was probably one of the greatest moments in the club's history. Against NYCFC on Wednesday, goalkeeper Adam Grinwis made 2 saves, including the game winner and penalty kicks to send the Lions through to the semifinals. A historic moment for the football club and a memorable one for all of the supporters. Ahead for Orlando City, an MLS match tomorrow, their 3rd game in 7 days against the Columbus Crew. The Lions will ride that emotional win in the Open Cup into tomorrow's match.
You got to enjoy these moments. I know for Adam, he's a guy who works every single day, one of the hardest guys in and out. He deserves moments like this, and I think that for him it's just a tribute to his character and how genuine he is of a guy. I think that to step up in those moments and finally take a hold of an opportunity, it's amazing, and I'm really happy for him, and I'm really happy for the squad.
And in baseball tonight, Tampa Bay emerged from the All-Star break by scoring 7 runs in the 1st inning. The Rays got homers from Tommy Pham and Nate Lowe in a 16-4 rout of error-prone Baltimore Orioles. Former UCF quarterback McKenzie Milton is making small gains in the gym, progressing nicely from his traumatic leg injury he suffered last season. Only on West 2, we followed Milton during a recent workout. He's 7 months into his rehab, works out 6 days a week. He's in the gym to keep his uninjured leg strong, and then he has physical therapy visits to help build strength back in that right leg. He says he's ahead of schedule, hoping to take that brace off in January, but knows he's got a long road before football is an option again. Wimbledon men's semifinals, a heavyweight bout. 2-seed Roger Federer, 3-seed Rafael Nadal went to 4 sets, went to 5 match points when Federer finally got the knockout. The 37-year-old Federer advances to his 31st career major final, the most of all time. The final is Sunday morning against Novak Djokovic. Federer is 1 win from a record 9 Wimbledon championships and a record 21 Grand Slam singles title. And on the women's side, Serena Williams, I'm looking forward to this one. Once again, on the verge of making tennis history, the 37-year-old is advancing to her 11th Wimbledon final. She is the oldest Grand Slam final in the Open era. Serena will face Simona Halep in the final tomorrow. Halep will be trying for her first Wimbledon women's title, while Serena is looking for her 8th. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
30 underserved children from a local summer program spent the day with a local basketball star. Orlando Magic power forward Aaron Gordon met up with some teens from Code Orlando at the Magic Kingdom.
The Disney Youth Education Series program called Energy and Waves Physics Lab teaches children the science behind the magic of Walt Disney World. The kids and Gordon, along with his mother, a former engineer, learned about energy, sound, and light in Fantasyland and at the Haunted Mansion.
Pretty cool. All right, Tone, Barry, huh?
Yeah, let's give you one last look now at the 11 o'clock advisory. Slowing down, believe it or not, west-northwest about 3 miles an hour. Wind still at 65. The key there to take away slowing down means we still have that chance for this to become a Category 1 hurricane during the early morning, mid-morning hours there, 8 to about 11 o'clock there. The other story here locally is, yeah, we've had a lot of rain on the eastern side of Barrie tonight, but out the door tomorrow morning, we're going to be in much better shape. A few clouds around, warm and humid, and if you like the heat, you're going to like the weekend forecast into early next week. 93, 94, rain chances below normal at about 30%.
Looking very similar there. Wake up with Wesh and wake up with the very latest on Barrie's landfall. The weekend sunrise crew rolls out straight up at 5 a.m. with overnight news and first alert weather, and you can get Wesh 2 News all weekend long at wesh.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.